Hey everybody, it's Caleb Curry with Caleb Curry Reports and Predicts. And today we're going to go over the Iowa caucuses. So I'm recording this video February 2nd, which is the day before the caucuses, but you'll be watching it on February 3rd, which is caucus day. So what's going to happen is this week is I'll put out this video, and the next video I will put out on Tuesday that will break down the results of the caucuses, and then uh, later on in the week I'll do a what this all has, how this has all shaped the race, and getting ready for New Hampshire. So first we're going to look at this. I'm on the 538 website, and we're looking at who will win the Democrat primary. This is their model. And right now, overall, Joe Biden's at 43% chance, Bernie Sanders at a 29% chance. Um, no one winning an absolute majority is at 17%. Elizabeth Warren is at 6%. Pete Buttigieg is at 4% chance, and everyone else is less than a percent of winning. So now we're going to come down to Iowa itself. And so what this is showing is that Bernie Sanders um, has a 28% chance of, well, he's going to get 28% of the vote. But that is a 40% chance of winning, while Joe Biden has a 34% chance of winning. Um, and so, really, this is showing that the model is that Sanders and Biden have the best chances of winning. Um, and then after that, they will have Buttigieg at a 14% chance of winning, Warren at a 10% chance of winning, and Klobuchar of winning at a 3% chance of winning. Now we're going to go over to some polling. This is also on the 538 website, but this is just a polling of all these different pollsters. And so we're going to go over um, 2 Iowa polls and a South Carolina poll. Um, so the first Iowa poll we want to go over is Emerson, which they rank as an A minus, so a very good pollster. Has Bernie Sanders up by 7 points right now at 28%, Joe Biden at 21%, Pete Buttigieg at 15%, Warren at 14%, and Amy Klobuchar at 11%. And then if we look over here at the civics poll out of Iowa, the most recent civics poll, it shows Bernie Sanders 28 as well, Elizabeth Warren at 21, Buttigieg at 15, and Biden at 15, and Klobuchar at 8. And then there's a South Carolina poll that we'll go over in a second. Right now, just going on Iowa, it's a really close race. Bernie Sanders has pulled ahead in the last few days, but that doesn't mean that Joe Biden or Pete Buttigieg cannot catch up to him, or even Elizabeth Warren. It seems like Klobuchar is surging a little bit. But what makes Iowa such a tough nut to crack is that Iowa has a system to where when you go vote, if nobody gets above 15%, you have to reallocate your votes. And so if you're in a precinct and let's say that Amy Klobuchar doesn't get 15%, well, now the people that voted for her have to go and stand in the line for vote for another candidate until every candidate gets above 15%. So that's what takes the caucuses so long, and this is why they do that. So you could have a situation where Elizabeth Warren has a lot of voters that are college educated, so she has a lot of college voters, a lot of voters in the cities of Iowa, but in the rural areas she doesn't have as many. So where do those voters go to Biden? Do they go to Sanders? The same with Klobuchar, and you would have to imagine Pete Buttigieg in some areas as well. So that will be interesting to see where those voters go. Um, the reason Iowa is so important is whoever wins tomorrow night, or as you're watching it tonight, uh, is really going to set the future and the projection of the race. Every winner usually does get an Iowa bounce, so that will be really interesting. And so that's why I just want to touch on the South Carolina poll really quick. It has Biden, as we said earlier, at 25, Sanders at 20, and then Tom Steyer at 18%. I mean, that's so important that Tom Steyer right now is creeping up in South Carolina. Who knows if he wins or not, but he's going to get delegates there. And if Tom Steyer, if he wins South Carolina, you'd have to say that that really projects him, big. But that's so far down the road. Uh, Iowa and uh, you got three contests before South Carolina: Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and that's really going to be setting the stage. So really, there's no need to look too far past Iowa and New Hampshire. Iowa will maybe affect New Hampshire, but usually not. New Hampshire and Iowa are counterbalances of each other, so it'll be really interesting to see who wins. This is a really wide open Iowa race. It could be anybody. I personally, this channel's Caleb Curry reports and predicts. I personally think that Pete Buttigieg will probably come through, or Bernie Sanders. And I know that's kind of a cop out to choose two people, but I think that Bernie Sanders is definitely ticking up in Iowa, and Bernie is really surging. So I could really see Bernie Sanders winning Iowa, but I could see Pete Buttigieg because his vote is more spread across the state and not as concentrated. So while Bernie may be the popular vote winner, I could see that Pete Buttigieg gets the most delegates. And you could have that. There could be three different winners tomorrow night. Somebody could win the most popular vote. Somebody could win the most delegates, is what really matters, and somebody could win the online caucus that they're doing a telecaucus on a phone, and so somebody could win that. Now that only counts for 10% of the delegates, so you could have three different winners, and so it'll be very interesting. So just stay tuned to Caleb Crew Reports and Predicts, and we'll break down the results for you. Thank you guys so much. Please like and subscribe for future content, and everybody have a blessed day.